this video tutorial, we're going to be using the color range selection method to identify color, amplify it, and celebrate Spirit Week at the New York City Lab School. So here we've got class of 2020. Clearly, I isolated the green. We're going to add some additional text, and this looks pretty cool. So what we're going to do right now is we're going to create this effect on this class right here, and this is actually a relatively challenging one because the class color is red, and you're going to see why that can be problematic in a moment. So how exactly do we do this? The first thing that you're going to want to do is open up the image. You're going to press Command J to duplicate the layer. And next step, we got to isolate those reds. To do that, you're going to click Select and then Color Range. Tremendous. And here's basically how it works. If you click an area and then you press OK, you can see that everything that matches that specific color has been selected. So if I press Command Shift I, Command Shift U, Command D, just that level of red has been selected. But that does not look amazing, right? So we need to capture all of the reds. And here's precisely how I do that. You're going to do Select, Color Range. You're going to click once, and then when you hold Shift and hold down on the mouse left click button, the left button on the mouse, what you're going to do is simply drag along the area, along the image that you want to capture. And so what I'm trying to do now is get as much of the red as possible. But what's a challenge I've learned about an image like this is that in addition to capturing the red in people's shirts, you're also going to get the red that's on sort of people's complexions, maybe like the color of their lips. And actually that's not super bad right now. So okay, here's what we're going to do. We're going to zoom out a tad. We're going to press Command Shift I to invert the selection. We're going to press Command Shift U to desaturate. We're going to do Command L. We're going to lighten the lights. We're going to darken the darks just a tad. We're going to experiment with the midtones, and I think that looks great right there. I'm going to press OK. And so check this out, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to, without deselecting yet, I'm going to press Command Shift I to go back to the reds. And there's a few things that we can do. One thing we can do is if we press Command U and I change from master to reds, I can increase the saturation. And so that's a whole lot. You can be subtle with that. I'm going to press OK. And then the next thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to create a new layer above it. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to select a nice red, and we'll get that red right there. So same selection, right? New layer above, and I'm going to use the paint bucket, and I'm going to left click. And I'm not going to deselect yet. Instead, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go from normal to overlay, and we're just experimenting. And I'm going to drop the opacity from 100 to 34, 35-ish. And I'm going to press now Command D, and that looks pretty nifty. If I hide that selection that we just made, you can see that when we paint bucket the red and we change the blending mode to overlay, drop the opacity down, it makes the red pop just a little bit more. Now, what else can we do to add red to this image? Well, it looks like maybe there was some red in his hair right there. So I'm going to create a new layer. I'm going to use the paintbrush, and I'm just going to go like so. And similar idea, we can just sort of create a selection. And now I'm going to press V. I'm going to hold Shift, plus, 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 and I'm cycling through. And I kind of like that. That's overlay. I'm going to drop the opacity again from 100. Let's try 64, maybe 58. And I'm going to press B for brush and add just a little bit right there. And then if we want to add some to his sweater, I'm going to do new layer. And we can just go like this again. And this looks kind of cool. All right. And then because I'm on a new layer, I'm going to press V, hold Shift, plus, plus, plus. And I kind of like that. I'm going to press V. I'm going to press 4 to drop it down to 40%, 50, 60. Why not? I'm going to zoom out a tad. And that looks pretty amazing. So I'm going to use the eyedropper tool. I'm going to grab a red. And then at the top, we're going to write, what are we going to write? Spirit Week. Why not? And I'm going to press check to confirm, Command T. I'm going to increase the saturation. Increase the size. And I'm not loving that color. So I'm simply going to press T, and then I'm going to change, without highlighting it, but on the text tool and on the appropriate layer, I'm going to brighten the red just a tad, and then maybe give it a layer style, specifically bevel and emboss. And I kind of like that right there. I'm going to press OK. We're going to submit this as a JPEG and as a PSD. Can't wait to see your Spirit Week marketing.